Hello, this is Malorian, and this is going to be a 2,000 point game of my Orcs and Goblins up against some Warriors of Chaos. Alright, so this is my chariot themed Orc and Goblin army, and same one as I used last time. Just to go over it again, I have a War Boss that has a Charm Shield on a board chariot. I have a level 4 that has a Scroll on a board chariot. I have my BSB with Gambler's Armor and Great Weapon on a board chariot. Then I have 3 units of 50 Night Goblins with Nets and Banner, 3 units of 3 Wolf Chariots, then 3 single board chariots, and that's that. That's 2,000 points. Just a whole bunch of chariots and a couple of Night Goblins. My opponent here, this is a guy you guys have probably seen on here before, and going from left to right, he has 5 dogs. He has a Tzeentch Lord that, can fly and all this fancy stuff. He has Killing Blow and 3+ ward save. I think the reason he doesn't actually fly, he's not a demon prince. I think he's on the disc. Anyway, he then has 50 marauders with great weapons and market corn. What do you see, those kind of like chariot things? Those are actually his war shrines. Then he has 3 units of warriors there, each of 15. The ones with 2 hand weapons are corn. The ones with shield, they are Nurgle. And then also there in the front, there is, I think it's just a level 2, maybe it's a level 1 that has a lore of fire and just goes for fireball. And then finally some more dogs here on the far right. The mission I got is just like the last one I got when I got my chariots out here, and that's the battle for the pass. So never a good thing when I want to be really mobile and going for flanks. For terrain, both of the towers you see here are the ones that give hatred and frenzy to everything within 6. Then we have the mysterious woods in the center. There is something off behind me that doesn't matter. On the left, that's the swamp that gives you a 6+ regen, and on the right, that's the swamp that you have to pass an initiative test, and then if you fail it, you lose D6 models. So I thought it was kind of interesting that he was putting his dogs through there. I think it was just more trying to get them out of the way, and he doesn't care if he loses a few. And we'll have to see how this goes. My real plan is to try and hit that front unit and then hopefully run it down so I can get rid of 1 unit plus his sorcerer there, so he has no magic whatsoever. And then really, the big thing I'll need to do is just try and hit those marauders with so much that I can crush them with combat res and then have my Night Goblins take away Steadfast. But I'm going to play it really carefully, and we'll see what happens. The big random factor is going to be that flying around Lord, and of course he outranges me, kind of, so could be dangerous. So I get first turn, kind of move up a little bit. I mean, I'm in no rush to get up there. He's in the swamps. I don't need to be having the swamps guarding his flanks, which is maybe how he's setting up. And meanwhile, I control the range game. Even though it doesn't look like I have much, I have foot, which is really the dominating factor here. And really all that happens is on this turn, I drop it on that front unit, and I kill over half of them. So that was a pretty good way to start things. His turn is mainly just moving up. I was glad that he didn't zip up too much with the Lord there. He's kind of more defensive, even though that still makes things dangerous for later turns. On the right side, the dogs, some of them got sucked down, and then the other ones failed their test, or they're basically gone for the rest of the game. Meanwhile, the shrine is fine, and on this turn he tries shooting a fireball at me, and I just scroll it, because I plan to go into him next turn. So on my turn, that's what I do. The wolves slam into that unit, really just decimate it, and then what's left breaks, and I run it down, run into the second unit here, so that's fantastic. Big chunk of points for me. I had the board chariot charge the wolves on the left, failed that charge. Had the Night Goblins charge the war shrine, failed that charge. And so what I did with my wolf chariots is I swung them around, because then either he'll have to kind of charge me and get away from his other units so he can't support them, or if he leaves my wolf chariots there, then they're in a great flanking position. This turn here, I go for foot again. I get irresistible force. I go and I try and smash something. I'm looking at his units and I'm trying. Oh, it's the warriors I'm now running into with the chariots, and it kind of scatters off. So it kills a few from that unit, a few from the unit on the side. Then I roll a 1, so he gets to do it to me. So if you look at the wolf unit on the far side, I'm now down to 1 chariot that has like 1 or 2 wounds. Luckily, I passed my panic test, but yeah, a little slip up from Gork there. His turn 2, his marauders go for a charge on my far Night Goblins, the central one, because he'd be getting a flank. Something I really didn't expect him to do, but he went for it. I mean, he would have been in the forest, but of course he'd be winning anyway, so who cares about losing steadfast? So I just fled to get away, and he kind of got stuck going after me. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough so that I get a flank with the other Night Goblins. Otherwise, his other war unit went to join up against my chariots. I did kill a good amount of his warriors with the impact hits, but then in the end, of course, I was killed to a man. Otherwise, you can see down at the bottom that I held. He didn't do too much damage to me. I needed, I think it was a 3 to hold, and I held. So, pretty much the best thing I could hope for, and now that War Shrine is going to be in a lot of trouble. My turn 3. Now this is going to be a turn where I just throw everything out there and hope it all works. So you can see here I have super charges. I have 2 boar chariots, the 1 left wolf chariot, my shaman chariot which passed the test to go through these woods. It actually turned out to be a fungus forest, and then my night goblins. And of course this is one of the great thing with the new way that how it works in 8th, where I just have to measure to see if I'm in, and then I can just get a single wheel. So even though I was closer to the left side, after I made that easy roll to be able and allowed to charge, I could move all the way to the far right, and what that meant is that the majority of my unit will be outside of the forest, which means that I still get my ranks and all that great stuff. So if this fails though, I'm in a ton of trouble. And in my turn 3 then, it looks like this. For my magic, I'd gone for Here We Go and also Fists of Gork on my shaman, so he was pretty cool. And you can see in there, it worked. I crushed him, and the only problem was that I only chased him with 2 units, figuring that'd be enough, and it wasn't. So, yeah, all that big unit got away, and they'll be able to rally, because even though I killed so many, he's still above 25%. The Night Goblins are into his Lord, though, which is great, and my Boar Chariot is into his wolves there, which is great. I'd actually crashed in the swamp, but was alive with 1 wound, so hopefully I can wipe them out before I die. Otherwise, you can see that my Night Goblins rallied, and the other Night Goblins went into the flank of the War Shrine, beat it through combat res, and basically ran it down while my Wolf Chariots went off the board. And then otherwise, you could see my BSB, War Boss, and other Board Chariot are just ready to counter those warriors once they move up. His turn 3 now, so the warriors on the right, they went into flanking my Night Goblins, beat me up, but I held and reformed to look at him. His other warriors flanked my Night Goblins. Yeah, they just got destroyed between them and the Lord. They ran down the Night Goblins, and it was really weird that the way that they overran, but basically they're clipping the flank of that middle board chariot there right now. Otherwise, my other board chariot was able to kill off all the dogs with the impact hits, so that was pretty awesome, but then I was killed in combat, and then his marauders rallied, so I'll have to kill them again. My turn 4, my general goes into the flank of the warriors on the right. They're completely wiped out. Up there, yeah, pretty much those warriors that were there, I hit everything into them. All the other chariots that I had there rolled really good for impact hits again. And of course it helps that on my shaman, I mean, he's just like a ninja killer right now with that spell being on him. But in the end, broke them, ran them down. Now I have 1 chariot into the front, well, my BSB into the front of his lord. I have my shaman into the flank. My other chariot overran into his war shrine. And the other thing that happened is I was trying to get something off with Foot of Gork, so it drops down, hits onto his lord, hits onto the war shrine. He makes the ward on the shrine, which is Tzinch as well, by the way, if I hadn't said it, and he fails his ward on his lord. And I'm like, oh my god, here we go. I roll my dice and I do 3 wounds. It's like, yes, he's dead. Except that he has the item that you can only do 1 wound to him with D3 weapons, or multiple wound weapons. So, at least I took 1 wound off, and maybe these impact hits will do something. But worse yet is that I rolled a 1 again, and so he went and stomped down on my wolf chariots on this other side when they came back on the board, and luckily rolled like garbage so that only 1 died and another 1 took a wound. But yeah, Foot of Gork hasn't been working out too great this game. His turn 4, and basically what happened here is his marauders charged into my BSB. I did my impacts. He made all of his saves. When he had to make a challenge, I accepted it with my BSB, so he had no marauder attacks and couldn't direct anything at my shaman. In the end, he killed my BSB, but my chariot's obviously still there. I broke, he then overran, and basically the marauders went and destroyed the one chariot there. His one lord overran, basically went into the flank of the chariot that was fighting his shrine. That was destroyed, and the great thing that I love that he did here is that then he reformed to look down where all of my other points are, so nothing's going to be able to counter my shaman. So as long as I can rally, I can save all those points. My turn 5, I rally with the shaman. That's good news. I think I went for Foot of Gork or something again and didn't cast it. Anyway, all I got into the marauders here were the night goblins, which I thought would be enough. I'd actually at first tried getting into the board chariot as well, but because of how the angles were with my general blocking the way, and I didn't want my general too close, I couldn't actually get my board chariot in, so that was a failed charge. And in the end, I think it was a draw, or he won by one because he had a musician. So we're just still fighting there. And even though this picture doesn't show it, after that combat was over, I was then able to combat reform to shift over a little bit. His turn 5, his lord charges my board chariot. I flee and get away. In combat, I continue to stab, and we're still all here. And then otherwise, his war shrine is just turning to look over at my chariot. My turn 6, I join in the other night goblins, and between all the attacks, I'm able to break the marauders. I overrun with both because I really want to get those points, and I get it. So unfortunately, I'm showing my flank to that lord, but hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And then otherwise, I send my shaman into his war shrine because I still have that spell up that remains in play. So I'm strength 8 right now, but in the end, he does a wound to me, I do nothing to him, so it's a draw combat. His turn 6, and it comes down to this. His lord declares a charge on my general. I'm not going to flee because there's a good chance I'll go off the board. So we'll see what happens here. But there's a good chance I'm about to die. And so basically at the top, I expected my shaman to die, but he kind of whiffed his attacks. I whiffed my attacks back, or probably more so, he just made all of his 3+ wards, so that's all a draw up there. And then down here, he actually killing blowed my lord, but my charm shield saved the day. And then otherwise, he won by 1 because he had to charge, and I held. And that was the game. So victory to the Orcs, and it went a lot more smooth than last time. I think I'm getting a little bit more experience with this list. I'm still liking it a whole bunch. One of the things that definitely was a huge waste is I actually had Gambler's Armor on the BSB that might have helped. Probably not, but it's actually still lots of fun. I really love this list. I'm currently painting up a ton of trolls, so I don't have time to paint up these chariots right now, but I'd love to get this list painted up and off to a chariot because it would really be very interesting. One thing I have to figure out though is on my Lord chariot, it's actually supposed to be another boar, and you actually still have another orc rider, so I have to kind of figure out how to incorporate that into the model, or I could just forget it and say screw it, it looks cool like this. But anyway, yeah, hope you guys liked it. Bye.